Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Think, Engage, Thrive. Today we have a great young entrepreneur, a guy named Joshua Donald. He's a New Yorker, which makes him even better. But he's a great guy, young guy, and he has a business in AI. He's done some other things which we'll talk about, but he's really focused on AI and solving problems with AI, which is always great to talk about and great for people to understand. So we're going to bring him in a couple of minutes, but let me just give you a little bit of a background. He's the name of his company is AI Response. He began his journey into Manhattan College, which, if anybody is a sports fan, the basketball coach there is a guy named Steve Masiello. My name's Phil Masiello. He's a second or third cousin of mine. But anyway, that's beside the point. But it's always interesting. And then he started a cleaning business at 22. Then he got into an IT role. So he's got a good background, good understanding of the world of entrepreneurship and AI. And being able to speak about AI in terms that we can all understand. So let's bring him in and see what he has to say. How you doing?
Hey everybody. Hi Phil, how you doing? How's everybody
doing? Good. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your history as an entrepreneur, why you decided to be an entrepreneur, sort of what motivates you every day, and how do you and what you're doing with AI Response.
No problem. For me, entrepreneurship, it's in my blood. My grandfather, he was actually a mechanic. He owned his own mechanic business. My family is from the Caribbean. We're from a small island, tiny island called Grenada. Some people pronounce it Grenada. And my grandfather was a mechanic. Then my father followed suit. He opened his own mechanic business. So for me, the idea of being an entrepreneur was just a given. I was always going to eventually be an entrepreneur. Even when I worked normal jobs, it was just a placeholder for that point when I opened up my first business. Like you said, when I was 22 and I graduated from college, I was thinking, I think I'm ready to start my first business. I did a little bit of research on what would have some of the least overhead, and a cleaning business was it. Cleaning is something that's a low skill business. I could teach myself how to clean properly. I could teach others. So I started that up. It was called Fresh Take Cleaning. It was based out of Long Island. And I ran that for about 4 or 5 years. And then I had a background in tech. So I went to college for tech. I have a background in IT already. I did a few IT jobs. So I wanted to pivot back into that. So I started working for a company called Kestra Medical Technologies. Mm-hmm. I was doing the IT for them. I was there for another 4 years and I was like, I think I want to go back and be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know exactly in what way I wanted to do that. So last year when Chat GPT 3.5 came out, I was like, you know what? AI is going to be the future. And I already dabbled in AI for a few years beforehand, but this was at a different level and it was a lot more accessible.
Yeah.
Developers, but especially for normal people. So at that point, I was like, I'm going to go head first. I'm going to dive fully into this. So I started learning Python coding to a higher level, started learning more about things like LLMs, large language models. That's what ChatGPT is. And its competitor is another service called Claude, which is pretty good. I recommend people try Claude if you're interested in using AI for copywriting. It's a little bit better than ChatGPT when it comes to copywriting. So check that out, everybody, Claude. So I started using those services. And I didn't really know in what way I could start a business out of this. So it was last November. I was just playing around with it, just learning the tech more. And then around the springtime, it started to become clear what I could start doing with this. And first, we started off with chatbots. So, those little chatbots you see at the corner of your screen on a lot of websites, those are dumb chatbots. That's what we call them. Those are dumb chatbots. And those are just programmed with preset responses. They can't think for themselves at all. So the technology came out where we can actually program smart chatbots, that can have full-on conversations utilizing the power of Chat GPT. So basically with the programming background that I had, realized we can take Chat GPT, train it to whatever a business wants or needs, whether that's customer service, lead gen, client onboarding, employee training, a whole host of other roles. We can train it on that, develop the actual bot, integrate it onto a website. We can integrate it into text messages, a local phone number so you can text the bot, WhatsApp if you use WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. We can actually at this point integrate the bot onto Google My Business. So say you're a service-based business like a cleaning company that I had that utilizes Google for searches so much, the bot can actually be right there. So before a prospect even goes onto your site, they can chat with the bot from right there. We can set the bot up to be a sales type of bot. So it's trained to answer objections and have the right rebuttals, things like that. So once I realized that, I was like, okay, I got the business plan. I got the framework. Now I'm just going to need some help. I brought on one of my friends from high school. His name is Brian. He's more of an expert in marketing. Brought him along. He's been helping me a lot with the outreach. I have another friend who's even better than me when it comes to the coding. Brought him along. It's like, hey, I need some help. So the three of us have been going at it. I have another friend who's really good in sales that I've been talking to him like, hey, I might need your help because the marketing's actually been working so well that we're starting to get overwhelmed that I need somebody else to come aboard. So that's my entrepreneurial story for right now. We started AI Response in the summertime. So I got that idea in the spring. And in the summertime is when I actually started the business, put the team together, started reaching out to people here and there, like, hey, what do you think? Are you interested in this on LinkedIn? Just getting a feel of what people thought. Quickly realized most people don't know anything about AI besides what they see in the news. A lot of people are terrified of it, don't know where to begin at all. So I realized, okay, a lot of this marketing is going to have to be educating people, giving people a lot of like demos. We at the beginning we were doing a lot of demos, sending people a lot of demos just so they could test it out, see what it's capable of, see that it's not going to like take over their like appliances at home and start like controlling everything. And once people get the right information, people understand what it's capable of. How powerful it is, and that it's not to the point where it's going to be fully like a sentient being at this point. Most people are interested once they realize that at a certain point, this is going to be everywhere. I tell everybody, this is going to be like the internet. It's going to be like social media. We're just in the very beginning. At a certain point, you will be using AI.
Yeah.
It's happened. It's just a fact.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we've been using AI in our business, and we've talked about it on this show a lot. We use Jasper primarily for content creation. We use God, I can't remember the names of all these products that we use because AI is just it's permeated so many things. Even our email platform is AI driven. The one that we use most often for our clients. Grammarly obviously is very AI driven. And then I can't remember the one for that we use for images. I'm not crazy about images. We don't use them a lot. And the one we've been using is, oh geez.
Is it Dolly?
No.
Midjourney?
No, it's a big one. God, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, they all sort of come out with images, and you can put in, show me an image of a dog in a doorway, and and it'll come out with a decent image. But it's just a creation of images that work for a brand or work for social media. I think in that case, you really still have to get images from the brand. It has to correspond to that. There was this big story last week. One of our clients sent it to us, and we had seen it already about the guys in Spain who built the woman out of an AI model, and they're claiming that it makes $10,000 a month in advertising. My point with that was, look, if I came up with a product, right, whether it was an AI solution of a model that took the place of an influencer and I could use her to make money, would I tell anybody?
Exactly.
So, it tells me whenever I see a story like that, I think they came up with an idea and now they're trying to sell it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I would just keep on pocketing that money and keep it rolling.
Myself, right? If I came up with a unique product, I don't think I would tell everybody, but people are gullible. So So did you grow up in Grenada or not?
No, 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 no. I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush, Brooklyn, if anybody's familiar. My family moved around the New York area quite a bit. I lived in Queens for a little while, and then I went to high school on Long Island, then college, Manhattan, then back to Brooklyn where I currently am right now.
Yeah.
So I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I'm a native New Yorker. I don't plan on leaving. I love the city. It's not perfect, but you know you're a New Yorker. You know if you're a real New Yorker, you both love and hate New York at the same time.
It's true. It's
But
true.
nobody can talk bad about it unless you're an actual New Yorker. If you're
Yeah,
from the
I tell
outside,
you.
don't say anything.
That's the truth. That's the
Hmm.
truth. Yeah, I love New York. I haven't lived there in many years, but I grew up there in the Bronx, and I was there through college. And I love New York. I love going there. I do a lot of business there, but I don't want to live there anymore. And you know, I wouldn't mind it if I could afford to have multiple places. If I could afford
Mm,
to have a place in New York and then, live,
yeah,
then you can go up there but
that's a dream. Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of that is.
Hmm.
So, let's talk about AI, because there's different levels of AI, right?
Hmm.
There's the content driven part of AI, right? Like the Jaspers and even Chat GPT, right? It's strictly content at that point, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So, like you said, the content aspect of AI, that's kind of like the entry level
Right.
aspect. So when you go on Chat GPT and you're texting, you're chatting with Chat GPT, and it's giving you that output that's content based. What's really important there is a concept called prompt engineering. And what that is every time you tell ChatGPT to do something, you're giving it a prompt, and that's basically a command. And what I try to tell everybody is think of ChatGPT as like the most intelligent person you ever met that
Yeah.
has no idea what you want. So you have to be extremely specific.
Yeah.
You want to even do things sometimes like give it a specific role, like, hey, you're a copywriter, you're
Right.
a this. So then it can start thinking more in those frames. And then you want to give it those specific tasks. And a lot of times the first output that it gives you won't be perfect. Keep asking it. Just like, again, if it's a extremely intelligent person that does not understand the first time, just say, hey, can you add this or make it shorter? Actually speak in this tone. Give it little suggestions like that as if you're talking to a real person. And that way you start chipping away and it starts realizing like, oh, this is exactly what this person wants. And after a while, you're going to get that right output. A lot of people I know that said like, yeah, I used ChatGPT. It wasn't that great. It's like, oh, you just don't know how to prompt engineer. I'm telling you, you can do amazing things if you know how to prompt engineer.
Yeah, I agree with you. When we first started using Jasper, I don't know how long ago, a year and a half ago or so, they gave us a cheat sheet with it.
Mm-hmm.
Act as a copywriter, act as this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, that's sort of entry level. Then they expanded on it, and we're able to put our brands in there. And so it scans the site and it gets a feel for the brand. And now I'll tell you where I find it to be very useful is in idea generation
Yes.
for us,
Mm-hmm.
because we have clients, and we're writing posts for social for different types of brands, and we're writing content for different types of brands, and sometimes you just run out of ideas, and so you can use Jasper, which is essentially chat built into it, to give you ideas on
Yep.
content, which I think is what I use it for the most when I'm
And
starting.
that's great. And what I like to tell people is exactly what you said. You can actually set up different chats to almost be specialists in different things. So you could have one chat set up like, hey, you help with copywriting. This next chat, what you do, you help with content creating. This
Yeah.
next chat, what you do, you help us plan out our content strategy and things like that. I use ChatGPT in that way all the time. Like right now, you can create a personalized GPT on ChatGPT, and you can train it exactly on what you want it to do. And
Yeah.
if you have a paid membership, that's included. It's not something that you have to pay extra for. And I use mine as a little assistant. He has a name. I call him Steve. I talk to him. I say, "Hey, Steve, can you write this for me? Can you do this for me?" All the time. And he sends it to me. He's fully trained. So at this point, I barely ever have to correct him and tell him, "Hey, change the tone" or anything like that because he's fully trained.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. But like you said, that is really the entry level point, and that's the point where I think everybody right now should at least be using it in this way.
Yeah.
You should be using it to help you come up with ideas, like you said, help you edit. help you if you have some data for your business. You could just upload a CSV file, and you can train it to be a data analyst as well. It can do so many things right now. That's just with the $20 Chat GPT subscription, not even anything crazy. Like some of the stuff we're doing is not like just that basic stuff can do a lot for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful tool, and I really enjoy it. I love AI. I love what the possibilities are when it's used correctly. Certainly, people can use it
Mm-hmm.
to do, but just, that's no different with anything. You
Yes.
know,
Mm-hmm. Any tool. It's a tool just like anything
a
else.
tool. So so you build now chatbots,
Mm-hmm.
which are,
So
yeah,
yeah, we started off building chatbots specifically. So again, going back to the example I gave of what most people are used to, those dummy bots on the side of websites,
yeah,
that's initially what we started off with. We're going to build smart customer service bots. We started off with that. Then we realized, hey, maybe we could build a lead gen bot like this. And what we did with that, we would put those lead gen bots into the client's lead magnet.
yeah,
So say a client had a lead magnet that's an ebook or some kind of guide, we can integrate the bot into a landing page that has the guide of the lead magnet, and we make it prominent there to, hey, talk to me if you have any questions. And we train that bot to be a lead generation bot that can qualify those leads, profile those leads, and then come up with personalized messages that we can keep those leads warm and keep in contact with them as well. We can also train it to guide the prospect throughout the sales process to whatever the call to action is that the client wants. So we realized that, then just started being creative. Like, hey, what if we do employee training? Because I thought a lot about in my cleaning business, what could I have used this bot for? So I thought it'd have been good to have this for employee training. A lot of times my employees would call me up for like, everybody that's listening is an entrepreneur. You know, your employee's going to call you up for some of the stupidest, most redundant things.
yeah.
And I'll just be like, oh my God, like, please, I'm busy. Like, do not call me for this. So I was thinking, I was like, hey, if we had a bot that's completely trained on our standard operating practices, a lot of the frequently asked questions, and we train it to know that you're going to be working with people and working through problems, be patient, be consistent. And when we tested it out, like, hey, this actually works. We can do this. Now we have the employee training bot. So that's kind of how this business works. It's very much a trial and error, discovery, customizable, bespoke. We tell everybody it's all of those things because this industry is so new that we don't even know all of the possibilities and capabilities. A lot of times we're learning this from our clients' requests. So we tell the clients like, hey, I'm not sure if we can build that, but we're going to try. And for us, that's really fun. It's like an adventure trying to figure out each time if we can actually fulfill these requests.
But a lot of that you don't do in Chat GPT. A lot of that you
Oh
do.
no, no.
Yeah,
So
you're using
so
open source
yeah.
AI.
So what we use. So we are using the power of ChatGPT, but we're not doing that within ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is under OpenAI, and what we do is we use their OpenAI API key. So basically, it gives us a licensing to use their technology as the basis of all the AI that we use. So all the AI we use is powered by ChatGPT, but it isn't ChatGPT. So if anybody's familiar with ChatGPT and the power that it has and how the conversations flow and how natural it can be, that's how our AIs are as well. And we train them out even more to flow, and we to flow even better than ChatGPT. If you go on it now, we also try to give it a specific identity based off of what our clients' business's tone and messaging is as well.
Yeah.
But what we do is we take that OpenAI API key, and then we going back to what I mentioned before, learning Python coding. We then apply that to Python, and we then try to create whatever that custom solution is, if it's possible, from there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So what do you think? What do you think of the next phases? Where do you see the industry going with the use of AI? What do you think the next big iterations? Because there's a lot of chatbots out there, and there's a lot of people doing that. But what do you see as the future? You think it's going to permeate video? You think it's going to permeate images? You think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to permeate?
So right now, I think the next big step, at least specifically for where we're at, is voice chat now.
Yeah.
So what that means is that soon we're going to be able to integrate this with telephone calls. So for example, again, for my old business, we're in the near future, if I had my old business, what we'd be able to do is hook up the AI to an actual phone number. And if customers call in, they're going to be talking on the phone to actual AI. And Chat GPT right now is unrolling their text to speech capabilities.
Yeah.
And it's some of the most powerful that I've ever seen. The actual speech of the AI is some of the most human like that I've ever heard. I would advise anybody to go on YouTube and check that out, like Chat GPT voice. It's really great. So we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we start implementing this so we can offer that as another added service, especially for our service-based clients. We're starting to get more and more clients that are like in the cleaning business, plumbers, electricians, people like that who get a lot of local phone calls.
Yeah.
So we want to really have that technology in place for like those guys.
Yeah. It's funny. There are a lot of those products out there where you can build a spokesperson with
Mhm.
AI,
Yep.
and they look good for when you're looking at them, but as soon as they start speaking, it's like this part of the face attached correctly, and then the voice is very um, monotone, and
Yes.
it just
Yes.
doesn't come
It doesn't
across.
flow right. It doesn't flow right. It doesn't
No, it
feel right.
doesn't. Yeah, and I think it's funny. Um, as far as training goes and things like that, I think that once they refine that technology and ChatGPT with the voice to text probably or text to voice probably is ahead of that. But I also think that's the biggest issue I have with the visualization of AI, whether it's images or
Hmm.
movies, video, or even some of these spokespeople is just the way that they look. They just don't look
It's not natural yet.
natural. Yeah,
That's definitely a few years off. The text based stuff is where it's at. It's A plus when it comes to text based stuff. The images, I would say it's like a B minus C plus. But it's going to be rapidly improving. This is the thing with this industry. Like I've never seen anything like improve so fast. Like
yeah.
every single month, it's something big, something new. Obviously a lot of this stuff is really like techie stuff that like regular people wouldn't care about or understand. But for us, it's like we have to keep our finger on the pulse at all times. At all times.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's interesting. I have someone who works for me that is a Python programmer, and we have a client in the sauce business, hot sauce, pasta
Mm-hmm.
sauce, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, why don't we figure out if we can take a tomato and a pepper and create a short little video? Because that to me that's
Mm-hmm.
different, right? You don't the pepper if the pepper's talking and the tomato's talking, it doesn't have to look perfect, right?
Yeah,
Because people aren't
exactly.
expecting it to be. And they did. They created a nice short
Mm-hmm.
little, actually a series of them where it tells jokes and it does
Oh, really?
silly things. But they did it with using an open source AI product. I can't remember the name, but they rendered it. They rendered the images and
Mm-hmm.
then exported it. So it was between whatever I can't remember the product, but it was that and Adobe and then refining it all. But yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes more sense. Something more like cartoony
yeah.
animated for right now. It'll do something like that really well. But like you said, real humans, yeah, it's like
Yeah, I don't think that. And plus, they're stiff. So
yeah.
I heard somebody talking the other day about you know building a AI model or a person for their social media channel, and they want to do talk about their products and do different things. But the problem there that I see is that you just have a stiff person. It's almost like a spokesperson just standing there with a fake
Yeah.
background. You can't put them in a real life situation and have them move and do things.
Hmm.
I'm sure you could, but I don't know what the cost of that would be.
Yeah. Honestly, right now the technology is not there to have that done adequately. They can do almost like GIF like movements, and so it's like maybe like
Yeah,
like 3 seconds like type of thing like that. But to fully walk around and be like pointing to things and it's not going to be able to do that yet.
yeah,
For something like with what that person was saying, what we do and something I would recommend, it's still text based, but if you wanted to have a representation of yourself or some kind of spokesperson, we actually started developing something called like persona bots. We've had that for two coaches so far. So we have two coaches. their business. One of the guys, he teaches people how to like do like email marketing, and another guy's just an executive coach for CEOs and things like that. And they basically wanted a way for their clients to have 24/7 access to them. So what we did, we took as much of their content as we possibly could, and we fed the AI this information. We trained it so much to try to talk like these two men down to a T. Like, this is how he says this. Like, this is how you're going to have to interact. And what we did was we integrated for one of the guys, he's based in London. So he wanted the bot to be integrated into WhatsApp. He's the copywriter guy, and he has like clients all over the world. So it made sense for WhatsApp. The other guy, he's based in San Francisco. So we just did it on a local number, and he gave it to his clients. And with that being said, they're able to use that as another source of revenue as well. So they're charging their clients extra to have this service, this 24/7 access. So we try to tell people as well, like, hey, there's ways that you can add AI into your business that is not just going to save you money and time, because that's mostly what people want AI for right
Right.
now, is to help save money and time. But there's ways to also make money. So something like the persona bot, if it makes sense for your business, or the lead gen bot that I was talking about, those are things that help make money. And that lead gen bot, we've been getting the data back from the conversion rate for leads. We've been seeing about an increase of about 28 to 33% on conversion rates. And it makes so much sense, because if you think about it, it's like every single prospect that goes onto your site or is reading that lead magnet or whatever it is that you're using is getting a personalized, like almost sales rep that's talking to them directly, answering any questions, any objections they have. It's having rebuttals for that. It's guiding them all the way down to that call to action. So that's just going to lead to so much people that would have dropped off that may be interested, that's going to stay there. And then the main thing is that we then keep the leads warm and automate the outreach continuously based off of that personalized profile that the AI made while it was qualifying that prospect. So again, there's so many ways that you can make money off of AI into your business, and we're trying to even figure out what are other ways that we can help businesses make money with AI. How can we keep adding value? Because that's what we want to keep doing, just adding value, because we know there's so many things that we don't even know yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And it's evolving so quickly that,
Yep.
it's gonna be different in, 5 months, 6 months, a year
Exactly.
from now.
Exactly.
A lot of the
Exactly.
things that people are doing today will be obsolete in a year.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, yeah, it's interesting. We, again, I'm only going by, our experiences and what we've seen and what our clients are doing and looking for and what some other folks are doing. But we had somebody on here not too long ago, and he created um, a story building, a book building process using AI for kids.
Mhm.
So
Oh, that's cool. That's
you
cool.
go in and essentially, and he used all open source, and you go in and you put in your name and you can build the characters. Who do you want these characters to be? You
Mm,
can choose sort of a persona for these characters, and then you can write the story using obviously chat. You give it a little bit of a background and it'll build it. But the other piece was they were using um, one of the voice emulators, and so the kid's mom can go in and talk
mm.
and put in about read a paragraph or whatever, and then it will just copy that. So if mom is traveling on business or dad's traveling on business, they can read the story to the kid
Oh,
on
that's
audio.
actually amazing. That's an amazing idea.
Yeah, he's doing it. He was on the show not too long ago. His background is education technology, and so he was able to do it. They just launched the app, and I think it's doing quite well. But it's truly a great
Mhm.
a great
And
thing. Yeah.
see, like something like that, I wouldn't even have thought about that. And that's what I'm trying to say. There's so many. The honestly, the potential is limitless, and that's what I really want people to understand. It's limitless. If you have a problem, there's a potential that AI can fix it, and that's what I want people to know. There's a potential. I'm not saying you can solve everything right now within your business, but there's a potential it can fix that problem. So just give it a chance, people, because again, like we said at the beginning, you will be using it eventually.
Well, we run a lot of ads for
Mhm.
clients, and I've been testing this product that's an AI product, AI backbone product to to run ads. So when you're, if you, let's say that, you have a client that's got 150 items, 160 SKUs, right?
Hmm.
It's really difficult to do that manually. And there's some automation tools out there, but they weren't really ever good. And we started testing this, and it's really cool in what it does and what it's looking for. And you're right, it gets smarter and smarter every day as it
Hmm.
gets more and more feedback, as it sees the relationship between the ad that's running and the conversion and what you're looking for and the spend and all these parameters that you've put in. It's amazing what it
Yes.
can do. And yeah, I'm just I love it. I love the whole piece of it. Another thing that came up with one of our clients, which I don't particularly like, but they're doing it anyway, is somebody sold them on a animation generator, and
Hmm.
so they build these 2D animations for their social media and with messages, but I find it to be clunky, and I don't think it's
Mhm.
very appealing. And it's just, this sort of robotic 2D image walking across the screen, saying something, and the mouth is moving, but I don't think it sells product. I don't think it really sells the brand.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's one of those, because I'm not gonna lie, even though I'm in this industry, there is a lot of like AI hype where it's stuff it's AI based, but it's like, what's the point of this? Like, are we just doing this just because it's AI and we just want to put AI on the label because we know that's gonna get people excited or riled up? So there's a lot of like AI things that I see. I'm like, this doesn't actually serve a purpose. It's not bringing any value, but hey, I guess somebody's gonna buy it.
yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of hype around it, and when you start talking about AI and you slap the AI label on things,
Hmm.
people go, "Oh, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
it's
like,
it
oh
was
yeah.
it was like um what do you call it? Oh, geez, it's left me. The whole backbone of cryptocurrency is the open ledger. What's it called?
Oh, man, I know. I forgot the name to it.
Yeah, but
It's not blockchain. What is it?
yeah, blockchain,
Oh,
blockchain.
blockchain. Okay, yeah.
So a couple of years ago, you would say blockchain to people.
Hmm.
Well, we want to use blockchain
Hmm.
technology. We want to be able to do this in blockchain. And you're going, well, all blockchain is just it's just a ledger, right?
Yeah.
And oh no, it's secure. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, take a look around at all the cryptocurrency that's been hacked. I'm not so sure that
Yeah.
blockchain is
Hmm.
all that, and now you don't hear about it as much,
Yeah,
right?
you don't,
So
and that's the thing that like I don't want people to try or use one of those more hype AI products and then think like, oh, AI is just like a passing fad, like
yeah,
it's like crypto, it's gonna like come and like crash and stuff like that. Because I do hear some people say things like that, and it's like, no, this is not like
yeah,
real at all. This is first of all, this is huge. This is a huge advancement in technology. Like we said, it's going to be everywhere. Governments are using this. Almost every large Fortune 500 company is using this to some capacity right now. It's going to be everywhere. It's not a passing fad, people.
Well, you see it in. I don't even think that people understand where AI is and what companies are doing with it. Right?
Hmm.
Essentially, Alexa is a lot of AI built into it,
Yeah.
voice technology and voice shopping. Right? Amazon has a
Hmm.
tremendous amount of AI built into the website. So people are using it; they just don't realize they're using it. But they
Yep.
hear about this AI and they get concerned that it's going to take over the world when they're already in the world.
Hmm.
It's just now a question of how do you want to use it.
Exactly. And AI has been around for a long time too. A lot of people need to realize what happened last year was that it just became a lot more accessible.
And
AI at this level became a lot more accessible, but it's been around for a while. And companies